Alright. If you're a...
It's been a long day
without you, my friend. Alright. So if you've been in a channel, you know our season reviews have been very... We've come up with some extravagant ideas, but now we've reached the end, and it was you could call it bittersweet, right?
Oh, very bittersweet. I know you saw that from the comment.
Huh?
You saw that from the
comment. I did. So we were reading the comment. It was a bittersweet ending, right? And we were discussing, it's like, should we try to do something creative? But honestly, we've generally taken a lot of notes for this season review. So I think all we'll do is just a salute to the director.
Salute to
Isayama. 3, 2...
No, wait, we gotta hit one of these ones.
Oh yeah, no. We do this and then we do this. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Transition into it.
All right. So now we've got the juicy, hard-hitting questions that Ronnie's got from all you fans.
The Discord.
So actually,
I'm excited for that. I want to see what you guys think of this.
Yeah.
We're gonna have different opinions. There's gonna be a bit of clash, so get ready.
We literally took a week off of AOT. Like after we filmed the finale, we literally took a week off to process everything I had.
And let the Patreon cook.
Yeah.
They were cooking.
I tried. You know what I tried?
If you aren't in the Patreon, what are you doing?
You know what I had to try hard? Not to go on YouTube and like search up AOT videos because I missed watching the show.
Yeah.
I was wanting to watch like random scenes or moments, but then that would take away from my perspective on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then I look at the comments, I look at reviews, and it would change the way I look at it.
Even like accounts that explain what happened. I didn't look at any of that just so we could have a raw review.
Yeah.
So
I've looked at it, but I didn't change any of my own opinions to be honest. So
I was just thinking about it. I didn't really think of looking at what other people thought. I was thinking about it on just what I thought about the show. You know.
Fair enough. Yeah.
It's like, would I do this here? Would I be like Armin? Would I be like Erwin? It's hard any question.
We're all different, so yeah.
All right, let's start with the questions. So, the first question is, do you guys think Eren achieved freedom for himself and for his friends?
What a question.
Who wants to start it?
Start with the youngest, I think.
No. We'll start with the oldest, the wisest.
Yeah, thanks.
Right.
The wise owl, who's 58.
So, I said Eren did not achieve freedom for himself. I think Eren's deep love for his people became the downfall of the universe. And freedom, I think, is only achieved when one can truly free themselves from their angst. And I don't think practically it's a thing that's possible for anyone, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I said that. I think Paradians living the rest of their lives with humiliation and shame added to that as well. So true freedom. Yes, there's a part of it where it's like they did become free from the world hating them because they got rid of Eren eventually, but they still had to live with a lot of humiliation and shame. So no.
Okay.
Whoa, one question. What is Eren's angst?
Yeah, what is angsting?
Yeah, let's look.
No, because Eren inherently, in the end, was still very guilty of the things he did. We saw that when he was closing his eyes.
So it's a question about his freedom, though.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is freedom only comes at the cost of one freeing their angst. So one can't have angst inside of them and truly be free.
Okay. That's it.
Alright, so Eren did what was necessary in his eyes, but did he achieve freedom? I don't think so. So for me, freedom is in the mind and the soul. And as our boy Kenny alluded, he was still a slave to his past, the anger he had, and his responsibility that he felt he had, and his idea of freedom, right? So he thought freedom was breaking free from the Titans, the walls, and anyone controlling him, blah, blah, blah. And he worked so hard for it, but in the end, he became trapped by his own goal, and he couldn't even stop, even when it hurt the people he cared about. And so it's like, I put it as like, imagine you achieve your goals, right? Whatever you goals have, whatever goals I have, but you cannot share it with the people you love, and you neglect everyone else, but you got the goal. I don't think it's worth it. So it's like, would you even want to achieve your dream? Would you even want to achieve your dreams, but you have no one to share it with? And I think that's what being free actually is, and I don't think he did that. That's why I say he's...
Yeah, but then what about if you look at it from Eren's perspective?
Yeah.
In his eyes. Look at it from his
But he answered the question how he thought, so it's fair enough.
I agree.
That's how... If I was to...
Let Briash say different.
No, I just want to pose a question. If you saw it from Eren's perspective, would you have a different answer? That's all.
I even from Eren's perspective, I think he got so absorbed in his mission that I think any human being, even for Eren, he loved all his people so much that I don't think, yes, he can acknowledge, look, it wasn't saving them actually and killing himself.
He'd rather be with...
He'd rather actually still be with them rather than be dead.
I also didn't think he achieved freedom.
So you're just copying it.
Yeah, I'm copying them. The youngest, the copier. No. But I said he himself didn't achieve freedom as he was still bound by the Titan's powers because he felt like everything was already predetermined, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh,
and we've seen that he tried numerous times to break free from his destiny, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Right? Even like Sasha, and he was laughing, right? We can perceive that a certain way. All these different ways. And he himself even admitted that a lot of it wasn't actually free will. There was a quote from him, I can't remember. And it's a bit of a wishy-washy statement, but there was and still is continued conflict, which we saw at the end of the show, right? So it's like, yes, for a moment in time, he stopped the wars, but it's like, in the end, how much change did he actually elicit, right? And no matter the era, there will always be conflict, right? I think we heard that quote from this show, I'm not sure. And also, his freedom, like Rowan kind of said, is about the others, right? The burden he gave Mikasa and Armin and didn't allow him to achieve his freedom with them and ultimately had to leave them in a world he intended to stay with them, right? I actually don't think Eren wanted that. He wanted to be with them, like what Rowan said. That is his version of freedom.
So why were you questioning me then?
I was just playing devil's advocate.
He was just trying to poke at you, poke the
I was
bear.
just, I'm speaking from Eren's
He
perspective.
likes
how I
poking
saw Eren's
bears.
perspective. And we also saw an insight in this when he gave Mikasa that world he was in as well, right? That alternate reality, whatever you want to call it. He wanted to be there, so it's like, I don't think he achieved freedom.
Yeah, this is weird because after hearing your guys' point, like, I don't disagree with you, right?
Yeah.
But I still had a different answer, right? So I wanted to start off with saying, like, yeah, the way you guys all described freedom was different, right?
Yeah.
So even the way I look at it, like, everyone has a different way of looking at freedom, right? So the way I look at it with my idea of freedom, right? Eren was never free because he was always caged by this pursuit for freedom, right?
Yeah.
But I think for Eren himself, he got to live on his own. I said this in the season finale, but he got to live on his own terms, and he got to do what he wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
Like as he said in the finale, he said, "I wasn't actually doing it for you guys. I was doing it for me because I wanted to." Right? He said that. So with his idea of freedom, I think he achieved it. But I don't think he was, like you guys said, I don't think he was happy with the actual end result, and it was actual pursuit that worked out for him. For his friends, I'd say he played a big part in giving them time to live out their lives, like pretty much what Biraj said. But at the end of the day, then there was still going to be conflict. There was still going to be that cycle of hatred. So I guess for me, I saw the characters like Erwin, Armin, and Mikasa. Those three, in my definition of freedom, those were the people that were actually free because they gave up on their own dreams in order to save the people around them, right? So from my idea of freedom, those three were the actual people that achieved freedom.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
Yeah.
But we could take the other stance here. We could be like, freedom of choice, what you said.
Yeah.
Isn't that true freedom?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
We need to talk
So
about the
it's-
greatest freedom one can have.
Exactly.
Isn't it freedom of choice?
So if you argue that, then it's like, oh, Eren was the most free.
Yeah.
But then if you say, then you can say Eren was always a slave to his dream, and he never, he could never
And
abandon
you
it.
could,
I
freedom
prefer-
of choice,
I
you could
prefer the
apply that to
latter.
Erwin as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Was he really did he really take the choice he wanted as well? He
Yes.
wanted to see
Yeah,
the
he wanted
basement.
to, but he gave up on it.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It's.
I think all of us saying no, except for
No,
you.
I
right?
Yeah.
I'm
No
not
and
saying
yes, I
no
don't know.
concretely though as well.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
I'm
concretely.
saying no and yes to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
I'm saying,
I'm saying no.
based on my
Idea of freedom.
idea of freedom,
Yeah, exactly.
That's what all of us.
I don't think it's worth having your dreams because his dream was what he did.
Yeah.
There's no point achieving your dreams if you don't have people to share it with and loved ones to share it with.
Yeah.
He said it himself. I wish Armin you were here to see this.
Bro, it's actually crazy. It's the Kenny quote, like you said it. Like it's the Kenny quote, being a slave to something.
But
Because that's the
hold
way
on.
I see it.
Hold on,
Like,
hold on. You know that conversation he had where he would go to people and tell them exactly
Yeah.
what would happen.
And then wipe
He
them
did
in.
tell them, in a way, he did tell them what his goal was and what he achieved.
No, my
And we saw Armin were kind of like related to it. as well.
They
So it's like, did he give him a burden?
No, I wasn't saying that. I was just saying from a pure aspect of he literally killed himself. I would rather be in war, be in war with the people I love and have the chance of dying from war than eradicate myself and let them live but have no war. I'd still want to do whether it's good or bad with the people I care for.
I see the way you see it, right? But the way I see it is saving his friends was secondary to him, and his main thing
Mission.
was achieving his idea of freedom, right? Which was
So you could
seeing
say he
that
reached
side.
the freedom. within
Yeah,
his
so that's
context.
what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
But
I
I see what you're saying as well. So I'm like,
I think let's move on to this question.
that's a tough one. I want to hear what the people in the comments think
Facts.
about that one because that was probably the hardest question on this whole thing.
Genuinely.
This one was not easy as well.
Well, what was it? Okay, so the next question is, who is the real enemy of the show?
Biraj, take it away.
You want to start? Yeah, Biraj, you can start.
Oh, youngest, the wisest one for real. We could have gone something with like cycle of hatred or system of hatred.
Hey, give by the way.
But listen. I think I concretely chose a character, right?
Yeah.
I chose Karl Fritz, not King Fritz, which I've mixed up a few times, but Karl Fritz, 100 years ago. Firstly, he started the revolution of Mali and Paradis, the hatred between them, right? Which created kind of the oppression of Eldians in Mali as well.
Okay.
Firstly. And secondly, the people of Paradis who because they didn't know the truth, right? So those people were kind of living unbeknownst to them almost. They didn't know that.
Brainwash. Yeah.
Unbeknownst.
Yeah, they didn't know things.
It was unbeknownst.
Yeah, it was unbeknownst to them certain things, right? The ignorance and isolation of Mali and Paradis. He created the possibility of the rumbling as well.
Yeah.
Right? Which, if he didn't do that, none of this would have happened. Like, he could have used it as a threat and not had the actual thing, right? Which we originally thought in the show.
Well, it was. I guess he never intended to actually use it. I guess, but
He didn't need to create the
yeah, he
actual
didn't.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, no one doubted him.
Yeah. I see.
He also created the renouncing war,
Yeah.
which allowed Mali to rise and gain power whilst
Yeah.
people of Paradis were sitting ducks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Which also goes hand in hand with him wiping memories and not revealing the truth. So yeah, Karl
Interesting.
Fritz. I don't like.
Nice.
That's a good take.
Nice, Gary.
Did
Alright.
anyone say Aaron? I'm curious.
Alright.
He popped up. I can't lie. He popped up.
Alright, so when we were discussing what we were going to write for this man over here was talking about some philosophical answer.
No, it wasn't that. It's not that complex. It's like a couple of sentences.
So I basically said, alright, I said, look, I'll just go for character because we can go themes, but I said King Fritz because he basically created the walls, wiped people's memories.
Wait,
Karl Fritz. Yeah.
Like what?
King Fritz.
No, King Fritz was
No, that is Karl
Ymir's
Fritz.
one,
Yeah,
2,000 years ago.
Listen, they're both King Fritz, but that one's Karl
Yeah,
Fritz.
this one's Karl Fritz.
Okay.
So do you mean
They're both
2000
Fritz.
Okay, so
Do
So
you
the
mean
older
Ymir's-
one, the
Yeah,
one that was
I
One
want
you.
2,000 years ago.
Yeah,
or one
I mean the
100
way who basically wiped people's memory
100 years
and
ago.
started
Oh, yeah,
started
the
the
old
started
one,
cycle.
the
Karl Fritz.
The
So
other
you
Fritz was
copied my
just
answer when we were discussing it.
We weren't discussing anything at all.
I said I'm doing this, King Fritz.
no, but we thought you meant the one that was later.
I
That's
literally
right.
mentioned
The
before.
puppet,
I got it wrong.
I thought you were
literally
talking about the
mentioned
puppet.
before-
Oh, you have the same answer. It's fine.
Yeah.
Alright, so basically, yeah, whatever he said then, because
Yeah.
bro, I was
Because you know I'm right.
so I just said because he started the
His
hatred.
brothers need to calm down.
Alright, so basically what he just said,
Yeah.
I say as well, but I didn't know he was gonna say that.
'Cause I'm correct. Exactly. So you are useless.
All right, let me give a different sort of answer here.
Start a petition to kick Rowan off the channel.
All right, relax. Calm down. You can take your brotherly scuffles or somewhere else. Scuffles. Anyway,
Alright, say it.
the enemy is whoever stands against the cause of what we personally wanted to see in the show.
Well, that is way too long of a
So,
sentence.
so,
Say that again.
so
Say that
the,
again.
the enemy is whoever stands against the cause of what we personally wanted to see in the show.
Oh, okay.
So if I wanted to see the rise of Eldia,
So you're gonna
the
be offensive.
Malians-
You're gonna be offensive.
so let me just finish. So I think for me that changed throughout the series. So at the start, the Titans that were invading Shiganshina were the enemy, right? After a while, it became the Malians from the Eldian perspective, and then at the end, it just became Eren, who himself is Eldian. So it's like, to broaden it out, it's based on what you think is morally correct at a given point of time, based on the background of information you have. So it changes throughout the season, but I think there's no one enemy. It's like it's all perspective. It's all a matter of perspective.
Okay.
100% agree.
Okay, so the reason I didn't go for a character is honestly I don't really blame any of the characters, right?
Yeah.
So I couldn't really think of one.
No one likes Karl Fritz, man.
And I was gonna say Cycle of Hatred, but I didn't really want to go too deep into that one, right? So I put it as just being trapped in the past. Alright? I think that's come up a few times in the show.
So the enemy is being trapped in the past.
Yeah, people being trapped in the past, right?
okay.
Like we've seen there's a lot of history and old grudges that come back.
That goes hand in hand with the cycle of hatred. Like,
Yeah, it does. So yeah, it's just basically people just being stuck in the past and yeah, inherently being stuck in that cycle of violence and conflict and this idea of revenge, right? And I think the true challenge is actually breaking free from this and moving forward and escaping the forest, as I said. So yeah, that's my
Shout out Mr. Browse.
shout out Mr. Browse.
Nice little analogy, lads.
That's a nice transition. What's the next question?
The next question is
Most profound death.
Yeah.
All
Which
right.
character's death was most profound, and how did you feel after witnessing it?
Let me start this one.
Oh wait, yeah.
This
yeah,
is a good
yeah.
segue
Oh my
into what
God.
Ronnie said about
And
Grace.
and someone they put not Owen. You're not allowed to say Owen
Oh,
because
okay.
I think we all would have actually
For a
said
second, I forgot Aaron died.
This is a great transition. So,
Owen. Oh yeah.
speaking of Browse, right? For me,
I put it-
Sasha's death marked the end of humanity's innocence. Her playfulness and humility embodied the carefree and compassionate essence of human nature, right? So I think the other thing is her loss also symbolized the beginning of a moral gray area. So like where the distinction between good and evil became increasingly blurred. Towards the end, the lines were incredibly blurred between what's evil and what's good.
Yeah.
That also came as a result of Sasha dying. It wasn't just the end of the humanity. It was
a
also
catalyst.
the lines being blurred, right? So I think that was monumental in the series. I can also tie this with her father's act of forgiveness.
Yeah.
Browse like the name Browse just represented compassion over vengeance, which I think is the cure to war. If I'm analyzing this from an outsider
I like
perspective.
that.
Okay, I was genuinely proud of this answer I wrote because I've linked it, like, you know, in school when you link your one paragraph to like your first paragraph. That's what I've done. So if you remember my answer on freedom, I said freedom is about human connection and still having that, right? So in relation to that, my freedom and importance that humans are trying to find meaning in a
Who
cruel
is your
world.
most profound
Shut
death?
up. Bro, just shut up. I wrote a beautiful sentence. I'm going to read it word for word, so just bear with me, alright?
Yeah.
Let me start again. In relation to my freedom and importance, that humans are trying to find meaning in a cruel world, and in the end, it's not power, but human connection that matters. And on that note, Kenny's death was the most profound.
Oh,
Fair enough.
no, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Because he says the pursuit of ambition and power is to fill an inner emptiness. Inherently, I don't think that's bad because it gives everyone something to live for. So when he said everyone is drunk to something to keep going, like power, family, or dreams, in his last moments though, he let go of his ambitions and true meaning that lies not in power, but in the bonds we form with people and choices we make for others. So in relation to Aaron's death, which we had in the first question, Aaron had his own ambition to do what he did, but in the end, he did not get to appreciate life's biggest blessings of spending his life with the people he cared for and they cared for him.
Okay, that's good. That's actually very well
good.
put together.
That's
But
good.
here's my question to you. I don't want to go harp on for too long. You said something. Kenny was or can we all agree Kenny was after power?
Yes.
We can all agree.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
So I think he embodied the power-hungry nature of the show.
I agree.
So why is his death? So you said his death was significant because
Because that when he died,
yeah.
the notion that power is actually the most important thing died because in
with
his
him.
last because in
Okay.
his last moments
Yeah.
he actually was like, holy shit, the power and shit doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's actually the people I build connections with and the people, like the legacy, like it was never about the power.
Okay.
So when he died,
Yeah.
it showed that Aaron also died because it's like, no, your personal ambition cannot be higher than the people you care for.
Okay,
And the people you care for must come over your personal ambitions.
Yeah.
And in my eyes, that's why Aaron didn't have freedom as well, because he put his personal ambition
Above
over.
the people he loved.
And that's why I said that he does have freedom
Exactly.
because he never succumbed to that. And he did what he wanted to.
And I viewed it the opposite.
Mine's pretty stock standards. Aaron Yeager.
Mm.
Look, I mean, I think that's the most profound because, firstly, I think until we saw Mikasa cut his head off, like I didn't know how the show was gonna end.
Yeah.
Right? Like I did not know if the guy was gonna die or not.
Yeah.
Till the very last moment, I thought he was gonna pull out something out of his ass, and Ymir was about to pull out something. I thought he was gonna live.
Yeah.
But it kind of goes back to what Rowan said, kind of not. But it's like that death of Eren firstly symbolized the end. It symbolized the start. It symbolized burden. It symbolized regret. But it also symbolized freedom. Like all the themes of the show that I see with this show
Oh, beautiful.
were all wrapped up in that one death. Mikasa and him kind of saw a freaky kiss because his head's chopped off. But like everything was wrapped up. Like it was a
Yeah.
beautiful wrapping up of everything. That's why I think it's the most profound. Like
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
I don't think I know what profound means because mine's a bit different, right? I think I basically answered like whatever had the biggest impact on me.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the death for me was actually Marco, right? Now I know this was
Yeah.
season 1, right? And at that point I didn't really care that much about it, right? But when they came back to it in season 4, right? I feel like it was so sad because he had no clue what was happening, right? He was such a kind person, and he had no clue what was happening, and he got betrayed by his own friends, right? And the line he said after that, he's like, "Oh, we didn't even have a chance to talk it out." Like, bro, that hit. Like, genuinely, that hit.
Do you think you had that perspective because it was a second watch?
Yeah, second watch, 100%.
Yeah,
I think because even I don't know, even the fact that they brought it up after such a long time, and like at first it was like unnoticed, right? No one actually knew
really
what happened. And then when they brought it back, it's like, and then the review happens, you're like, holy shit! Like,
yeah, actually, when you say that,
Yeah.
that actually.
And
Makes
the
It's
impact
messed up,
he
bro.
still had on certain characters like Jean,
Jean,
is
yeah.
crazy.
100%.
That's actually
That's
a good shout.
Marco's a good shout.
I actually
Yeah,
forgot
I wanted to
about
throw it back a little bit because I knew
Yeah,
you guys were
yeah.
going to cover the main characters. So.
Yeah.
Okay, next one.
Alright, the next question is.
That's a handy snub, by the way, in that question.
Oh, yeah, true.
Oh yeah, Hanji.
Honorable mentions.
Hanji was a good
Honorable
one,
mentions.
yeah. Okay, so next question is which characters went through their biggest / most change of personality during season 4, and whose was the most shocking change?
Ronnie, you can start. You can kick things off.
You want me to
Yeah,
start?
go
Okay.
for it, yeah.
So mine's pretty short, but for me it was Reiner, because he literally goes from being this leader who needs to fulfill his duty at all costs and come out as a hero, to being someone that's broken and struggling with all this guilt and this trauma. Like we see that with the conversation between him and Eren, especially. So yeah, that was
I completely forgot Reiner existed. Holy.
that is cool.
I actually forgot he
That is
existed. Yeah, Ron, you kick it off.
Mine was actually Rainer as well. And
So you
I
should
saw,
copy.
yeah, no, that was just a beautiful. He depicted the duality of a man, because we saw at times he's him just being a warrior, and then him also being like a broken man almost, right?
Yeah.
And I wrote in brackets here, he had me feeling every emotion towards him. Like there were times when like Rainer was just a character. Still to this day, as I speak on the man, I don't know if I like him or like I don't like him.
You
Or
can't
how I feel about
understand
him. Like I still to this day I need to watch
Complexity.
some YouTube videos on like understand this man to a deeper level, because his rawness here, he just depicted as a male. It was like, if you have like a bipolar. Oh, he did actually.
He did.
Yeah, he did. So no wonder. So like I don't know, like. But I just felt the infatuation to him, but I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
When someone can like, it's like when a girl gets you going in every emotion.
Yeah.
Like he was doing that to us.
Yeah.
Like there were times like Raina, I love you, and then sometimes like you can die. I don't really care. Like how many times do you think he was gonna die? Like,
When he had the gun to
right. I thought it was Gonski like 4 times.
Yeah.
So
Biraj?
Who's your most shocking change?
Hey, literally have one answer.
Well,
man.
yeah,
Like,
just we want to
it's
drain
the
this.
same question.
It's your turn.
So my biggest change was actually Hanji.
Ooh.
Right? I had Hanji as my biggest change because when she was first introduced, I didn't think she'd evolve into the character she was.
Yeah.
I never saw her as a commander. Firstly, never in a million years.
Yeah.
Right? But the way she went out and her evolution from when Erwin died, him putting her in charge, she kind of embodied what it was to be a Survey Corps member, right?
Yeah,
to me.
yeah,
It was like, even in moments of uncertainty, she was just honest and open. She's like, I have no clue, Eren. I'll help you, you help me, almost. That scene when he was in jail as well. Because, like, we were riding the journey with her, right? She's new to this. So she went through a crazy change to me, because she just started off as someone who just loved Sawney and Bean.
Yeah.
She just loved two
Oh,
random
shout out
guys.
Bean.
Not only that, like she was commanded during a time where everything was cooked. Like everything was just everything was upside down, but she did
Falling
so
apart.
well.
She
Like,
had no mentor.
She had nothing.
Right? The people below her were like the people she was against as well. It's like,
Yeah.
imagine the things she was feeling. Oh, what
even
a
the
character.
public, Flegel and all of them, like they were questioning her every time.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, she managed to
Yeah.
uplift people like Flegel and
Yeah.
everyone like that. Like, what a character Hanji was,
yeah,
honestly.
beautiful.
Okay.
Where she went out as well, man.
So to end it off, I've got Zeke Yeager. So I think for me, Zeke, obviously we saw him as this soldier for Mali, and
what a turn he was. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're right.
No,
It is a big turn. It is a big
I
turn.
just want to say, we at the beginning of the show, this man's a Jaeger. We not like
We had no
we
idea.
had no idea.
I knew
We always thought he looked
Yeah.
good. The beard was nice, but anyway.
Yeah.
So
Sorry
him
to
being a
interrupt.
Malian soldier, and then him transitioning over to being having this radical ideology of believing in this euthanization plan. It was a different sort of idea, right? I think like he was an antagonist at one point, and then he went to a morally complex anti-hero. Like it was that change is very big. You know what I mean? And also like we saw the deep inner workings of what he was as a character,
Yeah.
and we also saw, like, for example, his relationship with Sava, right? All of that forged into the person he was, but we always had a different idea of him. I think he himself, the problem Zeke had was he didn't understand his limitations from the first episode. Towards the end of season 4, I think he finally understood that he's a limited individual and that little things in life are where the juice is at. So him just being able to throw that baseball at the end, that was a great symbolic act in the whole show for me.
Okay. Did I go already?
Most shocking change.
Wait, did I not go?
No,
You
no,
Oh,
did
no, I
go.
said it right. Oh, yeah,
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 okay.
he did.
Oh, yeah, okay. So
Is that also your most shocking change on your character?
Bro, I just answered the
Yeah,
same.
same.
Oh,
I don't
yes.
know.
Yeah.
Do you want to really say a shocking one? Because go ahead.
No, mine,
think it's Eren
actually,
Yeager
you know
for
what?
me.
Mine doesn't really make sense
Shocking.
as well. Mine's Yelena. Right?
Okay.
Because I just didn't expect her to think the way she thought.
Yeah,
That-
I can do that.
That's why she was my most shocking.
Yelena was like one of those characters. I reckon if I had to say least favorite character.
Yeah, that was young.
No, honestly, I think for me, Yelena was the character I least understood, maybe.
Yeah.
I generally didn't really understand what she was about. Like, till now, I just thought all she cares about is going down in history. Like,
Yeah.
But I don't think she does as well.
yeah, but I think there's more to her. Like,
Because the Zeke thing is a complete turn as
Yeah,
well.
I
'cause
generally think
it's
I don't
not
understand
only about her.
I think it's
if
a
someone
weird,
can explain Yelena better,
to me, it's a weird infatuation with Zeke.
yeah,
It goes back to him being this messianic figure. Like,
I get that, but
But it's
isn't
also
it-
not.
Isn't
It's
it
also not.
Isn't it also just her doing it for herself as well? I don't know.
Exactly.
it is, but
I can't
don't know.
tell.
Yeah, she's convoluted. Like,
I think
complicated.
when if you have a least favorite something, it's
Yeah.
because you least
Understand it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is.
That's
So it's the
literally
same
what it
thing.
I didn't like Yelena.
Okay, well, you didn't like Elena. You were all aboard the euthanization, buddy. You should be
No,
fanboying.
at the start, but then at the end, I was like,
You and her should be KISSING under a tree.
Okay, let's go into our top 3
Stupid.
characters.
I was stupid.
Alright, wait. So we're doing top 3 characters, right,
Oh.
throughout the show, and one favorite new character that was introduced in season 4.
I'll kick things off.
Go for
Actually, no, Rowan, you kick things off.
Me.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So I'll start from number 3.
Yeah.
So I have to look. Oh, we were debating like. Oh,
Just say it, bro.
No, just shut up.
Let's just say
I
it.
just want to say it. Like, I was gonna put Kenny number 1, but like for the regularities of the show and the terms and conditions, people wouldn't be happy. All right. So I've got him at number 3, and you probably already know this man Kenny was one of my favorite characters. But
He probably is your favorite.
yeah, I just love him. What he stood for, love it, love it, love it, love it. All right. Second, I start like upon reflection after watching the whole show. I started off with a rocky journey with him, but purely from a respect and admirable sense of something that my personality or someone like me couldn't do is Erwin. And for that reason, the admiration I have for him, because he's someone, my viewpoints on how I see things in life, he has done the opposite, and I think for that I can show tremendous respect. That's where he's number 2. Number 1 is Eren. He started off as number 1, and he's ending off at number 1, purely because he made me feel every emotion that a human has to feel. Because there were episodes after discussion we were like, holy shit, I like him. Sometimes then I like, oh, what is this man thinking?
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe
Sometimes
shit.
maybe good, sometimes maybe bad. Okay? So, and purely for that fact, the journeys that he's personally taught me as well on how to move through life, and in a less extreme manner, of course, right? He really made me feel connected to a character which I don't think I felt in any other show before. And for that reason, he is my number 1 character in this show, and he is the wisdom he has bestowed upon me, my number 1 character in TV history.
Ooh, that's a big shout.
Ooh,
I'm not blaming you.
hold
Though.
up.
That's a good shout.
Bold claim, bold claim.
All right, I'll go next. So
Go.
for me, number 3 was Eren, purely for the reasons what Roland just said. All right.
So why is he number 3 then, buddy?
So I'm going to elaborate more. So with Eren, I think the main thing was freedom of choice. I think operating from the sense of freedom of choice, and being able to do what he did, knowing the ramifications. In a way, it's sort of deranged. I can see that point of view. But there's also another point of view where it's like he's going against every single person to do this, and he chose to do it anyway, just out of love for his people. So the thing I admire about Eren is his deep love for the people around him. I think that's the main thing I take away from Eren. Everything else was kind of, I didn't really like that. But anyway, Eren's number 3. Number 2 is Levi. I think Levi, the reason he's so good is because he has that physical prowess. I'd argue he's the greatest warrior on this show.
There's
I
no
think
argument.
There's no
Actually,
argument.
there's no
No one's
argument.
gonna argue.
actually, because you could say Irwin and stuff, but I don't know if Irwin
Warrior.
was-
What?
Probably not.
As
Right.
a warrior.
So the thing about Levi is he had the physical prowess, but he also had he was very emotionally, he had an emotional depth to him. He was very emotionally deep, and he also had a deep sense of responsibility for his comrades. I think the combination of that is very admirable, looking at from the outside perspective. Number one was Armin. I think Armin is, for me, the moral compass for this show. What Armin did by putting his emotions aside time after time, and even in times where he didn't have the strength, even in times where he thought he wasn't capable, he would always rise to the occasion and always think about the betterment of the group. I think that is one of the hardest things to do, because personal ambition is always on every single person's mind. I've put Irwin there as well, / Irwin. I did what BRG did.
Nah, hey, well, none
Right?
of that.
No,
None
no
of that.
slashes.
So-
I ain't got slashes.
But I think season 4 is all about Armin, because Irwin, obviously, rest in peace, he's not there anymore. So that coupled with his compassion, even his strength, I think Armin is a strong character, right? People don't understand it because he's very emotional, but deep down he's very strong. So that's number one.
Do you want to go or should I go?
I'll go. Number 3
Don't be copying my list, bro.
is actually Jean.
Oh, I see you're gonna copy my list.
Oh, he's
Alright,
too
so,
big.
so you're just gonna copy my list.
You guys think you're different, like.
No, I had to leave.
No,
my-
Nah. Season,
I really thought about season 4 characters,
Same.
especially,
Same.
and I was like, yeah.
Same.
you know,
It has to be Jean.
before we said, you know how before we said characters who changed in season 4 that we said Reyna?
Yeah.
I could have said John. Like,
Yeah.
He never
but
changed.
he
No,
had,
Jean-
he grew
he
throughout.
grew-
He
he
grew
grew
throughout.
throughout.
Growing is not changing.
Not
Yeah.
just season 4.
Yeah.
Growing
Yeah.
is not
Anyway,
changing.
yeah. Go to deals.
Oh, Sean. Oh, firstly, can we talk about his looks?
Yeah, I have a crush on the man. I think.
Genuine.
Yeah, genuine.
How beautiful.
Who did you say? Who did you say?
Jean.
Oh, Jean, yeah.
How
Yeah.
beautiful. The slick back hair. Oh my god. I could leave it at that. But like, what did the man embody throughout, right? Him famoosing flock. Like, everything the man did was just... Oh, he did it with such, like, 100%. He did it with 120%, right? He never not gave it a dozen.
never half-assed anything.
Never half-assed it. Number 2 for me is Eren, right? And it's not even just his ideologies and all this. Purely from a person watching a show, if Eren wasn't there, the show would be much, much worse.
100%.
Right? So as a character himself, I have to put Eren there.
Yeah.
Not just that, just like what Rowan said, the emotions he made me go through,
Yeah.
it's insane. Number 1 should be obvious, like no debate, I don't even say anything.
Erwin.
My GOAT.
Captain
Erwin.
Levi. Oh.
No, Levi, I had to think long and hard about this, but Levi he edges out of there because
Yeah.
Erwin number 1. Like, I'm not saying anything.
Alright.
Everyone knows.
Alright, so for me, yeah, Jean, basically for the reasons, a lot of the reasons you said, but I think he was someone that grew a lot throughout the whole show,
Yeah.
right? So he went from being someone who's a bit selfish
Yeah.
to finding something to fight for, mainly because of Marco, and becoming someone that's very responsible and thoughtful, and he also became someone that's willing to make the hard choices in the end to save his friends or for his friends, right? And I think, as people always say, like, he's not the smartest, he's not the bravest, and he's not the strongest, but he's the most relatable.
You know what
and
that
that's what makes him a good leader.
You know what that reminds me of? It's like when people ask, why is the lion the king of the jungle? He's not the fastest, he's not the strongest.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like, why is he the king?
Why?
Why is it?
I don't actually know.
That was a good analogy he was giving.
Yeah, you got it.
Bro, he was going to run there.
I was hoping someone was going to ask. But I don't remember why.
That's a young annoying talking.
No, we get it, alright. So,
But he thought he was cooking and then he
No, he was cooking, to be fair, but it's like...
he left the food
Yeah.
on the gas for too
Yeah,
long and it's
anyway.
burnt.
my number 2 has actually changed from the first time I watched the show. So, the first time I watched the show was actually Erwin, right? But this time it's actually Reiner, right?
Ooh.
I remember when Reiner was first revealed as the Armor Titan, obviously. None of us actually hated him, right? I noticed that. Like, none of us actually hated
Yeah,
him.
that's facts.
And after the raid on Liberia or whatever, we got his backstory. I think all of us really connected with him,
Yep.
like, genuinely.
100%.
And I think he easily became one of my favorite characters after that, right? I think every scene with Rhino on the screen, right? I enjoy thoroughly.
I
Like
agree.
every single time he popped up, it was like thoroughly.
You're
And,
engaged.
exactly. And the reason why he's number 2 for the second rewatch is because I didn't actually realize in season 2 how much subtly how much they foreshadowed like the complexity of his character, right? There's so many layers to his character that you only understand. I said this in my season 2 review, right?
Yeah.
You can only understand on a rewatch. Like genuinely, there's so much subtle stuff, and for that, like yeah, it made me appreciate him a lot more. So yeah. And my number 1 is Eren. I said this in my season 1, 2, 3 reviews. Like I didn't have Eren in. I don't think I had him in any of my top 3s, right? but season 4 like completely just
Yeah.
made him one of my favorite characters ever. Right? I think as a character, he has so much complexity. Basically, what you guys said, but
Yeah.
he has so much complexity as a character. Like, the writer makes you think he changed, right? He makes you think, oh, he's grown, or he's changed, or he's
Yeah,
different,
yeah.
right? He makes you question him. But at the end of the day, you realize, like, inherently, the core characteristics are all the same.
All the same,
And
yeah.
only the world around him has actually changed.
Wow.
So, for that reason, yeah.
Poetic.
He
He's
changed
my
the
number one
world to
character.
how
What's
he
the
would
next
see fit. And the newest favorite character.
Oh, let me start.
Oh, yeah,
I'll
true.
start.
Oh, you can start. You can start. You go for it.
I'll start. Falco the Falcon, my boy. What a character he was. From the moment he's introduced, right, we thought, oh, he's in the battlefields of this random war.
Yep.
But then, the guy with such an open mind to everything, he kind of understood everyone, right?
Yep.
It's oh, what a character. No, I'll just leave it at that.
Mine's also Falco, just going off his. I think he represented, like, the pureness and the innocent, like, the innocent freedom, almost. Because remember when he was, like, the first scene he was looking up, there was also a bird there, like... I see his freedom as like the other side of Aaron's, but yeah. Anyway, beautiful character.
I reckon I would say probably Gabby, and I think Gabby was.
He's Gabby.
I think Gabby was interesting because we saw like Reina, like if I compare Reina and Gabby for a second, like
Yeah.
Reina, we saw his conversion from like his thoughts throughout the whole show, right?
Yeah.
We saw Gabby's like it was a pretty quick transformation. Like from like the start, she was had one way of thinking, but as she explored, you know the scenes where she met the person who killed Sasha's family.
Yeah, Sasha's
when she met Sasha's family and stuff, and then she had the realizations.
Yeah.
Like, and I think the way the Isayama did it is, as a kid, your mind is very malleable.
Yeah.
So, and I think her mind is still very malleable.
Yeah.
So her seeing this allowed her to witness a different side of what she believes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think doing that was a beautiful change to see. And then we saw her from shooting Eren to like shoot all the stuff she did later on as well. I think overall, as a season 4 pure character, she was actually very, very entertaining to watch on screen.
Okay. So for me, the most what is it? What's the question?
Favorite character from season 4.
Favorite character
Of
is-
season 4.
of season 4. It was Mr. Browse, Sasha's dad. So I think.
What a speech.
Yeah.
What's
He's not really a new character. That's why I was laughing.
Okay. So
He was.
what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I see what you're
What
saying.
I'm gonna say about Mr. Browse, he forgave the killer of his own daughter. I think to be able to do that, that's probably one of the most difficult things an individual has to do.
Right.
That just shows the compassion in his heart. I think what Isayama has done in this show, right? He's depicted war for what it is, but he's also shown, like Roland likes to say, the juxtaposition of war. I think the way you combat war is through compassion and being a bigger person. What he was able to do and just be like, she's a kid. Just have that empathy for your own daughter's killer. That's one of the hardest things
Yeah,
anyone can ever
I
do.
think a big reason for his forgiveness was like it was easier for him to forgive her because she was a child. I think.
Yeah.
Like if it was an actual adult.
But
I think
even
things
for
would
a
be little
child,
bit
it's like it's not easy. That's such a hard thing to do.
Yeah, no,
so I think looking at that scene was one of the greatest scenes I've seen in the show. So yeah.
more. Alright.
Will you escape the forest?
Okay, let's go on to top 3 scenes throughout the whole show. So your top 3 scenes of the whole show.
I actually think this one was the most difficult.
So yeah, this was hard
I
as
feel like
hell.
we're gonna have Oh, maybe we don't actually. I don't know.
Nah, I reckon we would, but
Alright, should I start? I'll start this.
go
one.
kickstart us off and run
Alright, so my top number 1 scene of this whole show still gives me goosebumps is the stand-up dad scene when they're in the underneath the chapel and he goes. Eren does that little speech to Grisha. Oh my bro,
yeah,
that is the
yeah.
most beautiful. Like the plot twist there. Like I remember watching that for the first time. I was like, I had to pause. I was like, what the? I was like jumping around. I was like, what the hell? At first, I didn't really understand it, but bro, I was like, my mind was blown. Like genuinely. The second one for me is actually literally after that scene where Grisha leaves the chapel.
Yeah.
And he's like losing his mind.
Yeah.
The voice actor goes crazy there. Not just that, just everything about that scene is like it's very beautifully done.
Yeah.
And my number 3 is Erwin's charge. That's probably Brio's number 1, but anyway.
Do your shoulders.
I'll go next. So number 3 for me is Mikasa and Eren at the end when she has his head on her hands
That's just
and
freaky.
she's kissing it. Like, that was one of the greatest symbolism in the show, to finally see their love, like, come into fruition.
And the window open with the sun coming in.
Oh, it
No
was
teeth, yeah.
one of the greatest scenes.
Like, it was his jaw.
It was just also unpredictable. Like, her killing her own lover. We know she could never do anything against Eren. She beheaded him. That was insane. Alright, that's number 3. Number 2 was what I was saying earlier about Mr. Browse forgiving Gabby. I think that scene was just hard-hitting for me. Just because of that, I'm putting that as number 2. Number 1, I've coupled Erwin's sacrifice with Armin's sacrifice. So them fighting for the greater good, I think that's top 3.
Okay.
We'll save you till last. Best to last, you know. My number 3 is actually Armin sacrificing himself.
Yeah.
And in the moment, I don't think I actually would have said it's top 3. It's once I finished the show, and I've realized how much Armin meant to Eren and Eren meant to Armin, that this scene just hits much more.
Much harder, yeah.
It just hits much more for me. And it's almost like the tables kind of did turn as well, because Eren kind of sacrificed himself just for Armin as well.
That can go hand in hand with that scene where Eren is having a one-on-one dialogue.
Exactly, no,
with
that's
Armin.
what I was thinking when I was watching this. It's like they truly meant so much to each other, right? And you kind of couple this...
And they were almost opposites as well. They weren't the same kind of, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
A little spoiler, I actually don't have Erwin's charge in this, so you could kind of couple it with this one, right? Number 2
Can't
is...
like anything.
Huh?
I'm not coupling anything. That's your answer.
Number two is Dad, stand up.
Yeah.
That's just like holy shit.
Holy shit.
Like genuinely, it's like, bro, what do I do here? What am I watching? Like that's the only reaction to it, right? Number 1 is actually Levi's decision, right? And Levi's reflection on regret after the decision and him giving Erwin the peace, right? It captures the theme of regret and kind of what you said, living in the past, right? So beautifully, because he chose to take a gamble in the future, right? And it may have turned out good, may not, depends on how you look at it.
Controversial.
Yeah, it depends on how you look at it, alright? So, yeah, that's my number 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with these 3 scenes, I kind of knew you guys were gonna do like your favorite scenes, right? I tried to do like one logical scene that explained the story, one scene of like there was beautiful action in the show, and then one scene of just like a wholesome moments, right?
So do you usually don't have a 1, 2, 3?
I do. Because so number 3 for me was the wholesomeness, right? I think the wholesome aspect was like number 3 on the show. So mine was actually the 3rd episode. I wouldn't say scene, but that episode when they first joined the scout survey corps.
The mountain scene.
Yeah, the mountain scene. Like that whole.
Where she's having the potato.
No.
You know that was the worst rated episode in this whole show, and it was still one of the best episodes we've
Right,
watched.
like I'm saying, like we're saying scenes, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying like a couple of episode arc because every episode was like a scene almost. You can almost say, right? So like that time when they were all like learning to train, Eren would like his
The foreshadowing on that was beautiful.
Right, the foreshadowing on all that was beautiful, amazing, right? So that's like a wholesome moment that everyone coming together. Oh, the journey's beginning. It's like the beginning of the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Now, the second part is the action because the action in this show was absolutely like phenomenal. So I had to put Levi versus the Beast and him Titan hopping.
Oh, damn.
The Titan hopping, right? The Titan hopping, like you could also argue that scene. You know the one where he's fighting Kenny. The first scene, where he's looking through like the
chair throw,
right. But like I'll say the Titan hopping, and then because this story was just phenomenal, it was when we found out Eren and his dad, the dad stand up scene, and like that whole episode, and like I also love the part where Zeke actually thought he was famoosing Eren. So Eren was actually famoosing Zeke, but Zeke actually like was famoosing Eren, but actually it was Eren famoosing Zeke. Like
you know when there's that like one scene and then Eren goes next memory scene, and he's like takes control.
real quick, do it real quick.
So like that was like probably my favorite like little scene slash arc slash episode.
You know what actually is up there as well for top 3 favorite scenes is when Ronnie explained it. I think in one of the I literally got up out of the seat because like it's like you know it's holy shit at the time, right? But when you understand it, it's like, bro, what am I watching?
That's why rewatches have the biggest value, because you know what's happening.
It's an insane loop.
I agree.
Okay, well, Ron kind of went on about his favorite arcs and episodes, but we're gonna go for the actual like favorite arc of the whole show.
Yeah.
So
I got an easy one, Return to Shigen Sheen. I like Enough said. There's probably if I go on whatever website it will show out of 10, they should all be 10 out of 10. That whole arc 10 out of
Basically
10.
is. I can't remember what the exact rate is.
That's my answer. Is I saw some Instagram reels like, well, we both liked it. Yeah?
Yeah, we both liked it.
It was like,
She asked if that was the best experience you've ever had, but you were like, you think of like season 3 of
you've experienced the return of Shiganshina arc.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's literally that.
Fact.
No, that's my.
I had the same thing.
Same thing. I had I'm just different. So I had War and Parody. So basically the Memories of the Future.
I've watched
that's
it.
up there.
I've watched the show
That's good.
twice.
But they're very close for me.
Yeah,
But
same.
season 4 is just, in my opinion, better than season 3. So that's where.
Do you reckon?
We're talking about arcs.
Do you reckon though that was a second rewatch answer, or do you reckon after your first rewatch
Nah, it was the same for me. But speaking of that, we're meant to rank the seasons. So what was your favorite, and what was your least favorite? Like what your order is? Like mine's 4, 3, 2, 1. So
I think that's exactly mine as well.
Now mine's actually 4, 1, 3, 2. And I love
1, 3, 2.
2 was your least favorite.
2's my least favorite.
Oh, actually, that's not that surprising.
2's my least
Wait,
favorite.
1 be higher than 3 is
Yeah,
crazy.
1's higher than 3 for me,
I
right?
would-
Because of the start of season 3, I think.
All right.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it's mainly the start of season 3 that kind of drops it down quite. Like I've literally written here very close for season 3, right? 1 and
I actually agree with you. Like, if we weren't accounting for the whole season, right?
Yeah.
I agree that the worst. We say worst, but it was very good.
It's still very much
The
up
worst part of the whole show was
Was start
the
of
first
season.
part of season 3.
The
And for me, season 1, right? I actually think I'm using a bit of I don't know what the not recency bias, but it's like second watch almost. Like
Yeah.
when I realized what season 1 meant,
Yeah.
season 1 hits a lot more now
Yeah.
as well, right? And even like I can appreciate the foreshadowing a bit more, like him using Annie's move
Yeah, honestly,
against
the female Titan arc was one of my favorite times still to this day. I know a lot of people like thought it was dragged out, but I really enjoyed that.
The forest scenes were a little dragged out, but
Yeah.
I had 4, 2, 3, 1. So season 4 number 1.
Season
3 was
2
last.
3 was second last. 1 was last.
2 was your second
Wait,
favorite.
2 second
purely-
favorite is crazy.
That is
Purely second favorite.
Bro,
insane.
purely that Rainer's review was season 2.
it was good, but like, bro, season
That's
3
one
was-
episode.
Season
No,
3 was
I
better
feel
than
like season 3 end was beautiful. Like the
But the season 3
the start of
second-
season 3, I don't know. I lost attention to the
You
start.
love
What about
Sasha,
season 1?
the-
But you put season 1 last.
Exactly.
That's
Season,
crazy.
I didn't really like season 1 too much, to be honest.
Season 2 didn't even have Levi, man.
Nah,
Like,
Ronnie, we had one last.
Wait, did I?
4,
Oh
3, 2,
yeah.
1.
Oh wait, did I?
4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh wait, I did. Wait.
What are you criticizing me for?
Wait, what did you have above 1? I mean, what did you have as number 2?
2.
2
Oh,
was
okay,
not-
okay.
Season 2 was number 2.
Ronnie, yeah, how can you have 2 above 1? That's crazy.
Wait, yeah.
2
wait.
above
Maybe no, actually, no.
Season 1.
No, I do have.
Bro, we
no,
learned there was a
No,
Titan on the wall.
No,
like,
Actually, wait, no. I think I'm switching. I'm actually switching.
Thank
I didn't realize. I put 1 above 2. Yeah.
No, 2
I
has
now
to
we're
be
the
above.
same.
I put 1 above. 2.
1 above 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
2 is trash.
What?
In,
Okay, it's not trash.
in comparison, do not.
What is so
do not
good
come
about
at me,
season
Do
1?
not come at me.
No. Well, I completely blanked
Wait,
out.
what happened?
There was 6 episodes of them on horses. I'm
Bro,
sorry.
Season 1 was beautiful, man.
Season 1 was amazing.
Oh,
Season 2,
The female Titan arc.
the
was good.
the Rhino reel is still one like it's top 2 probably scenes in the whole show.
No, wasn't half the horse scenes in season 1?
No, that was season 2. All the season 2 was the horses.
No, season 1 was also horses.
Season 1 was horses. That was the flare and stuff.
The horses all throughout.
No, I'm not saying it's not the
No,
flares.
look. I think
Season 2 for me, like the only real things that stood out was the Rhino transformation and stuff like that.
Exactly.
When season 1 had more moments.
And Levi not killing Annie,
you know,
but cutting Annie.
there
That was it.
was a moment when
Oh, Levi in the forest. You can't just skip past that.
Buddy, that was like
Doesn't,
that was one scene.
bro, that is one of the greatest action scenes in this whole show. When Annie's tied down and like all the what are you talking?
Season 1.
All the Titans are coming.
one.
Oh
No,
my
no,
God,
what do
you
you call
guys
it?
are crazy.
When Ronnie said the female Titan arc, I gave it a little clap, but in my head I was like, I didn't really.
Boring.
Really?
That's why season 2 is ahead of season 1 for me because of
That's
that arc.
crazy. That arc was amazing.
It was amazing, but not as amazing as season 2, I reckon.
Season 2 was good.
Don't tell me it's the end of our beautiful journey.
No, we got
Alright, we have.
quotes.
Oh, here we go. We're getting a bit deep here. Alright, a quote from AOT that stuck with you.
Yeah.
And also, like, this kind of goes hand in hand. Did AOT impact your personal life? And did you guys think about AOT during your personal hours?
I'll just start. I've mentioned time and time
I
again.
think we already know what quote it is.
Yeah,
Bertie.
the quote
I'm
is
also
"You're a
sorry.
slave to something" by Kenny, and the personal hours question. Yes, I was actually talking to one of my mates today, and we were talking about understanding and like how people have different points of view and different things. And I genuinely was the way this guy. He's a director, right? And I was explaining to him. I was explaining the show, and I was gonna say like why this show is so amazing. Like the main character can be an advocate for genocide, but you still don't fully hate him, right? And I was trying to, I didn't make sure to say that, but I was gonna say that. And just before I said it, the way I was kind of exuding my point, because I had said what I'm about to say, I learned actually from watching this show, and he actually stopped me and said, "Wait, I'm going to actually watch this show now because the way you've said it," because I've talked about it multiple times now, and he's actually going to watch it. So I'm actually continuing the journey and helping others, like spreading the word of Isayama in a way. Right? I'm doing the Lord's work
Shout out
right
Kenny.
now.
Wait,
Shout
did you
out
actually say that about the genocide? Because that's the biggest
No,
spoiler.
I know.
Oh,
No,
that's
I was going to say that. I was going to say
okay,
that.
okay.
Like,
Yeah, good.
yeah, I was going to say that. In my head, I was going to
ruin
say
the whole experience.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that, right?
Okay.
But I was going to say that because the point I was going to make was supporting that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
just as I was about to say that, he was like, "No, don't say anything," because he could sense I was saying.
Yeah, got you.
But overall,
Okay.
this show has taught me once again understanding and having empathy for other people.
Okay. But for me, it's Armin's quote to Annie about who is a good person, right? I think I've brought it up a few times. It's do I think about this show in personal times? Yes, because this point of view now allows me to see different perspectives, right? It's almost like how many people then, if you start thinking about, oh, am I being good to this person? If you're just a good person in general, right? More people will perceive you as good.
Yeah.
It's kind of simple. I put it simply, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's better as a whole for the world if more people kind of took that approach.
Correct.
Okay. I see.
Okay. You want to take?
Alright, sure. Mine was Tatakai. No. Okay.
That's a shout though.
Wait, I need to find my way. Give me a sec. Okay, yeah. So mine was. I did a crazy throwback again because I didn't want to be generic. So mine was actually Mike's words of only when you stop fighting do you lose. Because I think it's a pretty like general thing, right? But I think you can apply it in a lot of things in life. Like it highlights resilience and determination, and I think it's sort of it can encourage people to give it their all, no matter like how hard things.
Tatakai.
Yeah, Tatakai actually goes into that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And both of them.
Okay, for me, I was born into this world. Now it's such a simple saying, but this when you extrapolate it, it's actually great what Aaron is saying. Every single person didn't have every person. No one had a choice. Everyone was born into this earth, and everyone had to fight for something that they were given. They had a battle that they needed to fight that they thought they were aligned with. I think it goes back to what Ron was saying about empathy. What that makes you realize is people are so different, and perspectives are so different, and there's going to be a clash between people because they were born into this world, right? I think that also makes me understand the notion of having compassion and showing being the greater person in times where people aren't expecting you to be the greater person. Even Aaron doing what he did, in a way, it's messed up, but he did what he thought he was right for him.
Yeah,
So I think that goes hand in hand with everyone's going to do what's best for them. So yeah, I was born.
I think that also goes into like him saying, "Oh, I'm born into this world. I have a right to certain things.
Correct.
You know, like I shouldn't be here, surrounded by wars and tyrants coming after me. You know, I have a right to live just as other people do."
That's
So
why
it's
there was Jaegers, because people actually agreed with that notion as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure I kind of actually agree with that as well, just not the way you went about it.
Yeah, 100%.
But so yeah, everybody's going to do what's best for them.
I think there's literally like an infinite amount of like quotes that we could pull out from the show because it's insane.
This should be this show. I was genuinely thinking about
Taught
it.
in school.
Like in people have like ethics as a subject.
Even like English analysis and stuff,
Yeah.
right? They should actually. It's so complex. Like we can take so much out of it. I feel like.
Bro,
So.
I wish I watched this when I was in year 12 and I could have wrote about
Exams and stuff.
Yeah,
it's
like
like
an
an
exam.
Facts. It gives you a whole new perspective on
Yeah,
things.
exactly.
We would go 100%.
100%.
Alright, so I think this is the final thing. Rank the show, and also they ask, has AOT become your favorite show? I can start off.
Yeah.
For me, it's probably I think it's 100% my favorite show. I think some things kind of come close to it in terms of entertainment, but in terms of the plot and story writing, I said this in our first episode before we even started the show. When we were all sitting here, I said this. I was like, the writing and the storytelling in this show is unmatched.
It's
so
unmatched,
yeah. And in terms of rating, very honest rating, it'll be 9.4, I think, for me. Because there are still a couple of things that I don't fully agree with, but that's what it is.
Okay, for me, I'm giving it a solid 9. So, to answer the question, is this the best show I've seen? I think it is the best show I've seen. Purely from an analytical perspective, I've been able to grasp so many things, right? The one point missing is actually because of The only thing that really pissed me off, not pissed me off, but I thought wasn't done the greatest in this show was that Lord Reese fight when he was going to the wall.
No, he's not wrong though.
Dropping a whole point.
That
fight was
that whole.
I don't know.
The
Randomly
Rod-
finds the head.
The Rod Reese Titan arc was the worst arc.
That whole segment was just so
Yeah,
anticlimactic.
then
It
you
was.
and then you realise the guy goes stand up, dad.
Yeah.
And it's like
And then she just finds that perfect piece and cuts it. It's like,
Yeah, exactly. We all said this. Like, how did she find this?
I think that wasn't done the best, but overall, just from the layers in the show, what you can take out of it, ethics, even like how we see things differently on screen and how our personalities shine on camera as well. It shows that like this is art and there's perspective with art. So I think this show delivered it the best.
Okay, when you watch a show,
Yeah.
there's 3 things I look for.
You're not a film critic.
Yeah, I am. The animations, the storyline, and the entertainment value.
What if you're watching a show that's not an animation?
Shut up. I was just talking about for animations, right? So
He's trying to be a smart ass.
So,
I'm being true.
So if we got to start, purely because of, and a wise man once said, nothing's ever 10 out of 10, right? And if I minus that season 3, episode 1 to like 6, 7-ish, if I remove that, this show is a 9.8 for me. And that 9.9 it won't be 9.9 because of that little arc, and it can't be 10 because nothing's ever a 10.
What little arc?
That season 3 episode.
The only good thing that came out of that arc was Kenny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally. But so I will actually give this show a 9.8. And in terms of best shows I've ever watched, you best believe this is my favorite show I've ever watched.
This is the best show. This is 100% the best show.
No, this show, and you know when something just, like you could say other shows maybe you've entertained a little bit better.
That's how
right?
I feel.
You can say, but in terms of like best,
Yeah.
like when you say something's the best,
Yeah.
it has to cover all aspects.
All aspects,
Some
exactly,
shows have they're very entertaining,
Yeah,
but they're
yeah,
shit
yeah.
story.
Yeah.
This show is everything. That's why it's the best.
Yeah.
You cannot, just because it's your best, doesn't always mean it's your favorite.
Yeah, 100%.
Best means it's the best stuff.
This show has the best plot, best character,
Best everything.
Yeah, genuinely.
Soundtrack, I'm
Music,
Soundtrack.
animation's
So
beautiful, everything.
that's exactly why I say 9.8.
I mean, there's no doubt to the viewers. I think it's numero uno. Like, there's no other spot to put it. First, because I also
Top 2 and not 2.
haven't watched a lot of shows, right?
Yeah.
So something is this kind of, it hit me like a train wreck almost.
Yeah.
I've never had to think this much. I've never had to watch a show that's been this insightful as well.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I didn't think something could evoke so much thinking from me. Right? Like, to sit down here and just be invested day after day is...
You can't do it with a shit show, and like how we were so engaged. You can't do that if
And
the
it's
show
not
is
even-
shit.
It's not even like, yeah, even if it's entertaining, right? Like, there's no like other real show that like makes me like walk out of this room and have a conversation about it, like with other people. You know,
Yeah,
what I mean?
I
I'm not gonna talk about
yeah.
the show. Like, we've actually had that with Vinland Saga, I think, a little bit now. But everything else, I feel like you have fun while you're watching it, right?
Yeah.
But once you're out of it, it's like you don't really think
You
about
don't
it.
Ironically, Death Note, throwing back to the
Oh,
first
Death
episode,
Note.
Death Note did that for me the other day,
That's fair.
which is interesting. Check out our Patreon. We got Death Note over there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cheeky
that,
plug in.
yeah, that did. Yeah,
That was a cheeky ass plug, man.
yeah, but no, Death Note, bro.
I think if you made it this far in our review, like you're probably on the Patreon. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like realistically, if someone's
the loyal
saying,
listeners.
yeah, this is like for our like. Is that all? That's all the questions, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think what's left for this is we all go off on our own ways. We watch our own YouTube videos, and then I think that's what the Discord and stuff's for, because now we can, if we have any insights and stuff.
I think the next part of the journey is just interacting with as many people about this
and
show.
just
And
spread-
rewatching it.
really no. I think there's still you still got to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think other than that, I just want like people who stayed for a whole journey, like genuinely appreciate it, and I think
Even the ones who are new to our journey as
Yeah,
well. Like,
thanks for all the support. It's been
Genuine,
It's
genuine.
been monumental.
But realistically, this is the end of a journey for us, and
I'll be honest, I think they've helped us more than we've helped them.
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
some of the things people are saying, I'm like, I need to have a conversation.
Even when I
with
was
you.
having a bad day, sometimes I look at the Discord, I look at the memes, like even just people like not spoiling the show.
The
It just made it
engagement,
so much better. I felt so good.
the engagement overall is just crazy. Like,
Yeah.
people literally go out of their way. Like, I really think about it sometimes. Like, people are really going out of their way to comment these things and like to inform us. It's like it's hard.
Well, I'll be honest, I'm doing the same thing on some of these shows, man. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
like, what do you think of Earl?
You know what I want to do now?
If they're hating on her when I'm on them.
You know what? Yeah, I want to watch like other reactors now.
Yeah,
I'm like, I want to go and see how people are reacting to these shows because we've never really experienced that. Like we just
Yeah.
started this thing like for fun.
Yeah.
So I wanna.
All
I wanna
right, so
check
this is the end of a journey. It's sad, but
In the end of the road.
We might get copyrighted, buddy.
What the hell is that?
It's crazy.
I've never heard of that song.
Mr. Burton making up a song.
Alright, alright.
It's unnatural.
See you in the next one.
Sayonara.